happy with the delivery from Dembele. The first one, Mbappe was in acres of space, but in that one, I mean, it didn't really get past the first man, as you would say, and you would like him to. Everyone was up there. You had the central defenders up, you had the midfielders up. That's a chance for Dortmund to hit on the counter. Really, is if that ball isn't as good as it was. You need to sometimes take advantage of the set pieces, and Dortmund will be looking to hit moments like that you might give away a set piece in a dangerous area, but if they're the set pieces that are going to be whipped into the area, you might take them sometimes because you can get the PSG bodies up the pitch and can counter on them very quickly.
And Dortmund a little bit slack at the weekend, of course, conceded 2 against Freiburg. Obviously not necessarily. I suppose they won.
เพื่อนๆสวัสดีนะครับปารีสกับดอร์ทมุนด์นะครับเพื่อนๆเราแล้วก็มีอีก2คู่ด้วยนะเป็นแมนซิตี้กับ
Something could be a hamstring just on that Freiburg game actually. Hummels, of course, as we've mentioned, scored twice, but scored the third for Dortmund until the 88th minute, and the fourth one came stoppage time. So it was a late show from Dortmund, but importantly they got the job done. Worryingly though, this game, Sabitzer is down. As I say, looks like a tweak, could easily be a hamstring, and the subs are warming up.
Yeah, I think it's always worrying as well as watching replay. As you say, he just jumps over the sliding tackle coming in and he just pulls up instantly. I think sometimes not the worst of all injuries, but innocuous injury. It's not all coming together. It's probably like, say, a hamstring, possibly a groin injury, a more muscular injury, which those are just really hard to come back from sometimes. They can sometimes be 6 weeks, sometimes be 3 months. It depends on the seriousness of the injury, but from how he's looking, and we can see the substitutions warming up, getting a bit of a change now. It looks like Sabitzer's first UEFA Champions League match in the lack of Dortmund is coming to an end rather quickly.
Confirm that change in a moment. But Borussia Dortmund are down to 10. Obviously, so early in the game, subs not necessarily ready to come on. Have a shirt on either.
ครับเพื่อนๆบาซ่านะครับนำแล้ว
Teammate didn't quite see his number. A couple of goals have gone in elsewhere. By the way, Barcelona have taken the lead at home to Royal Antwerp. They lead by 1-0. I mentioned Porto were in front, but Shakhtar have equalised. That is now
เอามาแล้วฝากกดไลค์กดแชร์กดติดตามให้ด้วยนะเพื่อน
ๆ In place of Sabitzer. As you would be picking up an injury so early in what is a big game. Sure where their standing is in European football defense. Here is Marlon breaking into the PSG box. Shot towards goal, and it's saved by the keeper who didn't hold on to it. Almost out of nothing. The defence opened up. One shimmy and he's through just inside the area. A decent strike, but didn't beat the keeper.
Yeah, I feel if that's anywhere other than at Donnarumma, that's going in the back of the net. Fantastic.
ครับเพื่อนๆพี่ตอนนี้นะครับก็มีที่นำอยู่นะครับก็เป็นบาซ่านะครับนำอยู่1-0
Fantastic right-footed effort, and if it's a good save by Donnarumma, it's so strong, but it's realistically right at him, right in his hands. If that's to the left or right of him making him work, that could have been opening the lead for Dortmund. And we're nearly just 14.5 minutes in. It's been a good game so far, and I think that's the best chance it's good.
แล้วก็มีชาต้าโดเนตนะครับกับ FC ปอร์โตนะเสมอกันอยู่1-1นะครับคู่แมนซิตี้ก็ยังไม่มีประตูแล้วก็คู่ของเราก็ยังไม่มีประตูนะครับเฟยนูดกับเซลติกลาซิโอกับแอตเลติกก็ยังเสมออยู่0-0นะครับตอนนี้ก็ฝากนะครับใครเข้ามาแล้วฝากกดไลค์กดแชร์กดติดตามให้ด้วยนะครับพี่ๆเพื่อนรบกวนด้วยเรามีอะไรเรามาคุยกันได้เลยนะครับ
Colomwani runs underneath it, thinking Dembele was behind. It's volleyed back in from about 35 yards in. Way over.
ซาบิเซอร์นะครับเพื่อนๆเจ็บ
Good break from a PSG viewpoint, and maybe Colomwani should have done better.
Yeah, when Colomwani looks at that back in the replay, he'll be absolutely good to be able to slot that away. It shows the pace that PSG have on the counter attack, and as I was saying earlier about Dortmund maybe wanting to counter attack.
เอาไป
PSG have they want to get on the ball.
เอาเว้ย
they want to pass it around and build out from the back.
เดมเบเล่เปิดเข้าไปข้างในโอ้โหมูลี่นะครับแล้วครับบอลมาถึงเอ็มบัปเป้นี่แม่งกองหน้าทีมชาติฝรั่งเศสเลยเนี่ย3คนเนี่ย โอ้โหไม่ได้ครับวิตินยาโอ้โหโหดไปเลยก็ไม่ดี
Yeah, looks a little bit unconvincing. Maybe it's just a little bit too far ahead of him. And he was stretching. Actually, I've seen easier chances, that is for sure. But might have just been caught between feet there as well. But either way, it's a decent chance, and it's gone up again now. The game has entered the 17th minute, still goalless. The threat of goals is there, but admittedly, Kobel in the Dortmund goal hasn't had to make a save. Obviously, the one from Donnarumma has been made. Ugarte's gone down, and Emre Can is
มีอะไรพิมพ์มาคุยกันได้นะครับพี่เพื่อนๆมาคุยกันได้เลย
PSG, and this was when Dortmund, well, I thought they'd won the possession back. Kind of booting the ball. Unfortunately, by the time the ball's his foot's getting there, Ugarte's nipped it away. He's kicked his man. Not sure he's got too many complaints. It was only a free kick, not a yellow, and it's a fair way out. PSG have taken it regardless. So not desperate to get it in the box right now. It's Parisian possession with plenty of Dortmund players back behind.
อะไรหรอช่วยดี
Over right to left. Hernandez looking for Mbappe.
สวยดีสวย
It's
ดี
the hit though. It's allowed challenge to come in from Ryerson. Throw into PSG. Halfway inside the Dortmund half, going back to the halfway line, and Skriniar, PSG start again to the right-hand side.
มาครับเพื่อน
Dortmund player trying to work the 1-2, the return pass still over it. That's been a
ๆ
problem.
0-0นะครับเพื่อนๆนี่เปิดดู3คู่เลยนะเพื่อนๆผมดูอยู่แมนซิตี้แมนซิตี้แล้วก็คู่บาร์ซ่าแล้วก็มาคู่ของเรานะที่เราโฟกัสกันปารีสกับดอร์ทมุนด์ผมเกรงว่าที่ผมไม่ไปเล่นคู่บาร์ซ่ากับแมนซิตี้นะก็คิดว่ายังไงก็ชนะอยู่แล้วทั้งแมนซิตี้กับบาร์ซ่าผมว่าคู่นี้สูสีกันหน้ามันดี
From Ugarte, a potential break on, but the pass under hit, won back by Hernandez, and PSG back in possession. But pretty
Bye.
Yeah, I think as you say, spot on with Milani.
โอ้โหผมเชียร์ปารีสนะผมชอบปารีสผมชอบเอ็มบัปเป้แต่ถ้าไม่รวมเรื่องนิสัยนะเรื่องสไตล์การเล่นบอลอะไรอย่างเงี้ยผมชอบเอ็มบัปเป้มาก
ball back into the area, and they're looking whenever they get high and wide. That's when they're looking dangerous. And as we're looking through, they're going side to side, trying to get Mbappe involved, trying to get Dembele involved. Whenever they up the pace of the wings, they're very dangerous so far tonight. PSG.
Dembele has it. Thought about shot, decides just to try and keep possession.
เอาละครับเพื่อนๆพี่เข้ามาแล้วฝากกดไลค์กดแชร์กดติดตามให้ด้วยนะอย่าลืมนะ
From the edge of the box, I'm not sure if Kobel was unsighted, but he wasn't getting across to that one. Vitinha's walking away, shaking his head. Can't believe it. There was a throw-in after it was cleared away to PSG, but then they've made a bit of a mess of that one. Obviously, this is as close as we've come. Great strike from Vitinha, a little bit unlucky.
Just a fantastic strike.
ไปเฮ้ยสวยแล้วครับไปแล้วเดมเบเล่เปิดเข้าไปโอ้โหไม่ถึงฮาคิมิฮาคิมิเนี่ยผมชอบอีกตัวนึงคือวิตินยาเนี่ยครับเบอร์17เดมเบเล่มาอยู่นี่ผมว่าดูดีกับบาร์ซ่าเยอะเลยก็อยู่ในประเทศด้วยทีมชาติฝรั่งเศสเอาวิตินยายิงเรียบร้อยไอ้เหี้ยชนเสาโอ้โหวิตินยายิงชนเสาเหี้ยเอ้ยนิดเดียวโอ้โหเนี่ยครับเพื่อนๆวิตินยายิงโอ้โหชนเสายิงด้วยขวาโอ้โหเพื่อนๆ2-0แล้วครับคู่บาร์ซ่าเลวันดอฟสกี้นะครับยิงเอาวะ
I think largely to say Adeyemi lost the ball and it's PSG possession. Dortmund definitely wanted a free kick there, but
บาร์เซโลนานะครับนำ2-0แล้วครับได้ประตูที่2นะครับจากเลวันดอฟสกี้นะครับเพื่อน
ๆmake himself an option. The pullback from him though is disappointing. He's preventing a quick clearance though. It's rather hoiked up in the air by Hummels. One back though by PSG halfway inside the Dortmund half. I say that it's played back by Dembele to Skriniar on the halfway line, and be happy to start again. Skriniar essentially back at the moment. Marquinhos has come back alongside him. Back to Skriniar, now to Hernandez. Straight back to Skriniar. So they've just slowed it down a fraction. Barcelona thought they'd scored a second goal. Whether it stands will depend on a VAR review. They are already 1-0 up in that game. Might be 2-0 confirmed as and when. So PSG bossing possession. Fatigue's a factor because having just hit the post, I might be more inclined to go after Dortmund a little bit more. But they've had possession for 90 seconds, and it's the defenders just passing it across the halfway line.
Yeah, like you say, there's maybe sort of a bit of danger there at least, but your best chance you create to get more on the front foot. But seemingly so far, PSG are happy to when got it with the back four or the midfield three. They give it away. They're quite sloppily. As Daniel Malin looks to take his ban on. The counter is on for Dortmund, but fantastic defending from PSG. Still falls away by the Emmy. But PSG look happy to when they're on the ball in their own half or just in Dortmund's play it slow and slow down the tempo. But as soon as they get high and wide on the wings, that's when they look to go for it.
Shot comes in from Emery Can though, and again the defending is a little bit lax. It was a good run from Adeyemi, but he didn't have too many options. But because he bided his time, he picked a nice pass to Emery Can outside the D, central position, driven
ได้สกินเนี่ยนี่
down.
จากอินเตอร์เนี่ยผมว่าแม่งก็อายุเยอะอย่างวะเนี่ยสกินเนี่ยอายุ28คู่กับมาร์ควินยอร์ดโหดูแข็งขึ้นเยอะเลยครับ
One-way traffic as they try and come themselves. A nice little run. Gatti now to Mbappe. Floats it into
แมนซิตี้นะครับยังยิงไม่ได้นะเพื่อนๆแมนซิตี้
just got away from him.
ก็ฝากพี่ๆเพื่อนด้วยนะครับเข้ามาแล้วฝากแล้วก็แชร์กดติดตามให้หน่อย โอ้โห
Chest control could have been a little better, but running at full tilt, not necessarily easy to kill the ball dead. PSG still on the attack though with Dembele. That's not a great pass to him, and challenge comes in from Schlotterbeck into touch. PSG throwing. 3 minutes kicks over. Part de France, independent unofficial off-tube studio commentary. I can tell you that second Barcelona goal stood, and they've immediately followed it up with a third. So any thoughts of a Royal Antwerp upsets appear very early in that contest. Barcelona
โอ้โห
3-0 up, no further goals, including of course this game. It's all PSG. They've hit the woodwork as well, and they're on the attack down the right-hand side. Hummels though gets
เพื่อนๆ3-0แล้วครับบาร์ซ่า
and it will
เฮ้ย
be
เยี่ยโหดชิบหายเลยเพื่อนๆ22นาที3-0แล้ว
I'd say it was one-way traffic. There has been the threat from Dortmund, but there's a lot of defending for the German side to do, as is the case for this corner. Here's Lewis.
Thank you very much for that, Rob. Yeah, fantastic opportunity now for PSG to whip a ball, and as Ousmane Dembele doesn't beat the first man again. Pretty poor delivery, clear by Brandt, but picked up by PSG again. Still high and wide and right on that. Dortmund has looking to take his man on in Malin, who was a bit far back to see he's a striker. Looks to whip a ball, and again, not the best delivery. Cleared by Sule, and it's just out now, and Dortmund counter attack, but a lot of PSG bodies all over, and giving away again. Marquinhos can be in his central defensive position, but one high back now, and you're on the ball, looking to again they've slowed it down very much at PSG whenever they've had the chance to, but whenever Mbappe's on the ball, 1 touch, 2 touch, looking to really up the intensity. Dembele and Mbappe whenever they're on the ball, but Dortmund do win it back. Lovely little play here now by Brandt, and it's in a way won back by Vitinha. It looked like possibly the referee were going to blow his whistle, but it's found its way out to the right-hand side. Ousmane Dembele looking to put inside, linking up with Vitinha, who looks to find Mbappe possibly offside. A few Dortmund players looking for that, and as we said earlier, I mean, we're seeing Mbappe now on the right-hand side. It's so fluid is that front three that Dortmund looking to play over back three. That could really cause problems. It's a 3-on-3 at this point, and when you've got players like Mbappe and Dembele popping up all over the place, I assume the three centre-backs could be all at sea at sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, pace of Mbappe there, I mean, it wasn't particularly well controlled by PSG as a whole, but Mbappe makes these things happen. Obviously, the fullbacks or the wingbacks are getting sucked in. Here they go again. Hakimi, I think getting sucked in because of
เว้ยไปเว้ยเดมเบเล่ลากแล้วเดมเบเล่ลาก
getting took back. That means Hakimi in
วิติน
particular
ยา
two fullbacks. He's
โอ้สวยมาเป้
winger right now, so it's a front
โอ้โห
four
มาเป้ดูดิครับเท้าไวชิบหาย
starting to have more of an influence. Perhaps not seeing as much
โอ้โหผลักแม่งเลยเวน
delivery, but
อีอ่ะ
four, Gatti has it on the right wing and 4 on the edge of the box.
So many PSG players pushed up, and seemingly you get a lot of wing backs that want to get forward. Hakimi gets forward so much. Seemingly Lucas Hernandez now is on the ball. He wants to sit and maybe make a back three with him, Skriniar and Marquinhos. And Skriniar passes out to captain of the side, Marquinhos. Plays it out to Hakimi. Once again, PSG looking to slow things down when they're on the ball, and I mean everyone as does just pass into the top half. Everyone has really in the entire Dortmund half, apart from Donnarumma, he might be a little lonely on his own. They haven't really tested him either of Dortmund.
เอาฮาแลนด์โอ้โหฮาแลนด์เกือบยิงได้หม่งชนคาน
And 30% for Dortmund, not really surprised as we said. PSG have been happy to sit on the ball, pass around, look to move Dortmund out of position, move players around. They look to move around the pitch. It's nearly a sloppy pass given away there, but it is given away. Back well by Wolf, but given away as it's won back by Lucas Hernandez. Vitinha looking to run at his man, play into Kolo Umuane, but it's deflected out, and it's gone out for another PSG throwing or a corner. I believe it's a corner as players come back. A few, not the best set piece delivery so far. And I mean, Mbappe looks to take a quick one here. Maybe that's why into Dembele, back out to Mbappe. As soon as he's on the ball, the intensity ups majorly. At Dembele out to the outside of the box, and Kimi looks to take a touch. His shot, his right-footed effort, just floats high and wide. No real conviction on the shot. A lot of space opened up for him, but as we said earlier, with Lucas Hernandez getting the opportunity in the box, maybe that's not who you want it to fall to on the edge of the box there.
No, I mean it's. I mean you mentioned it. The set pieces haven't looked overly threatening. Mbappe though has got across to take his shot. I mean some of the approach play looks pretty good for.
โอ้โหจินยา
Ball, the final shot, apart from the Vitinha one that hit the woodwork, hasn't quite been there. There's a sense of nonchalance about PSG for me in that final third. I mean obviously if there were 3-4-0 up, you'd think you'd understand it, but it's 0-0. They got beat at the weekend.
ฮาคิมิโอ้โหเฮ้ยปั่นออกอีกฮาคิมิ
Win it back fairly quickly though. The possession stats are skewed massively in the home side's favour, but they could be a bit more clinical.
Yeah, as soon as Dortmund have gone forward, they're doing a bit shaky. I think it's on there as they do win the ball back every time Dortmund look to counter. There's just not bodies up top for them to be able to get a quick pass off, and it's just here so high that they win it back up again. And tempo here, Kolo Muani into Hakimi, who is forward again, looking like maybe right when you're looking like a central midfielder. If you will, it's found its way out to Ousmane Dembele on the right side, looking to take his man on, looking to cross in. Somebody finds Mbappe, who dummies it, and it finds a way to Kolo Muani, but his effort, he just rolls away from him, and it's cleared by Dortmund. It's a throw in left hand side for PSG. Lucas Hernandez throws it into Skriniar. Happy again, just on the ball, looking just sitting in front of the two centre backs, a back three or a back four with Lucas Hernandez at points. All over into of Dortmund, as you said, it's one-way traffic in the sense of possession, but not in sense of chances created. Like you say, we've only had the Vitinha one. But you'd be very happy so far with the game plan.
Yeah, I mean they're not.
เอาละครับเพื่อนพี่เข้ามาแล้วฝากกดไลค์กดแชร์กดติดตามไปด้วยนะ
A little bit like PSG.
เอา
Something of a rebuild.
โอ้โหเอ็มบัปเป้เย็ดเท่
The players that Dortmund have let go or had to sell or whatever over the last couple of years. I mean, Jude Bellingham. I mean, this is a team that should have won the title last season. On the last day, as running Hernandez into the box. Soule took a little bit of a chance because Hernandez had run past him. He's still looking at him as he blocks off the run. In the end, he's turned around and stabbed it behind for just a quick kick, but pace there against Soule could be a problem. But I mean, Jude Bellingham's gone, and I think they're lacking a little bit of confidence in possession. They're doing all the defending at the moment, happy to clear their lines.
Yeah, Vitinha looks for a strike at goal, and it's deflected wide off of Wolf, and it's the goalkeeper all at Cesar Corbel. Looks like a fantastic strike, and Vitinha again just found himself in all worlds of space on the edge of the box. No one closing him down, looks to go for an effort after his first just bobbed off the post. Again, PSG, they're not being closed down very much on the edge of the box by Dortmund so far.
No, I mean,
เอ้ยทีโอโอ้โหเฮร์นันเดส
Mbappe, Dembele, Kolo Muani, as a corner comes in, it's dealt with near post. Offensive header from any of the set pieces had so far. There is a break on here for Dortmund though.
Yeah, Julian Brandt wants a ball back, but a bit of a sloppy pass, and again, they have 3 runners up with him. First time Dortmund have really gone on the counter from a corner, but had the men up with them to.
โอ้โห
PSG again just really swarm around Julian Brandt with the ball back, and just about to approach the 31st minute. Kylian Mbappe just watching movement. He's all over the place, really causing Wolves a lot of problems. But again, PSG just on the right-hand side. And Dembele plays it back into Marquinhos. Some runners here, and PSG just sauntering around at this moment in time. And as you say, they've not had by PSG standards, have had a bad start to the season. By many, they've had quite a decent start to the season. As a long ball is played up to Mbappe, he tries to keep it in and tries to get a ball into the box, but it's just met well by Cobel and Dortmund as well, trying to build up from the back and trying to move PSG out of place. But Dortmund as well, they've had a good start to the season and they'll be quite full of confidence, as you say. Maybe defensively look a bit shaky, but PSG
0-0นะครับครึ่งชั่วโมงถัดไปยัง 0-0 เหมือนเดิมนะครับเพื่อนๆพี่
more of a rebuild in terms of players coming in and out. They'll be wanting to, would have thought, maybe come into today and maybe win 3-4-0 and prove a point.
Yeah, I mean, I still think they're playing like they're 2 or 3-0 up. Mbappe, I say this, a team is 3-3. Here they go again, edge of the box, can't quite release the pass. It's quickly won back though by PSG. Mbappe from 25 yards out, decent strike power-wise, looked off target. I'm not sure if the referee thought he deflected, doesn't look it. I think this would be a goal kick if it hit anybody to a PSG player, but it didn't. So, I mean, they're getting sightings, but Kobel not making any saves. Of course, they have it the inside of the post. But given their possession stats, the number of shots, it's arguably disappointing. They're not working the keeper. For me, they're better than Dortmund. It's a matter of time. They've got Mbappe as the
ดูวิจินญ่าดิครับเพื่อนๆโอ้โห
How many times do we say that about teams?
เอาเอ็มบัปเป้ยิงไอ้เหี้ยไม่ได้อีกโอ้โห
edge of the area, but Hummels gets another block on it, and whenever PSG are running at the Dortmund defence, that is the ball it sees, and you've got Sule and Hummels just arms up in the air, and Kobel, another deflection, he hasn't been tested yet. Coutinho's shot off the post. Mane there, he's opportunity, but it's another corner for PSG. Look for a good cross here from Dembele. Again, not really even beating the first one, as it's just played by Julian Brand. Goes back into the middle of the pitch, and PSG just take possession again. And now Dortmund have had a few set pieces, a few corners. They've maybe with better ones in, and PSG now have had a few, and I couldn't really recall a good set piece they've had other than when Kylian Mbappe took the quick one.
Well, I mean, you look at that front three, we've talked about it. Open.
เอาโคโลโมนี่ยิงโอ้โหอะไรวะ
Maybe just lacking that clinical finish, but
โอ้โหนิดเดียวเพื่อนๆแม่งโดนฉลับครับโคโลโมนี่
Mbappe, that's not their forte. Skriniar and Marquinhos up from the back. Skriniar looks a bigger threat, but they're not really finding him. Marquinhos, I'm sure he's capable, but he's not that sort of physical presence that other centre-backs might be. So they just don't have that advantage, but they just haven't tested them from... I suppose that at least they're getting it into in and around the 6-yard box. Only takes one touch, but they haven't threatened a set from the set piece yet. I'd say the same at the other end. Dortmund have had 4 corners, and I don't think they've won a header either.
You know, the set piece so far, the delivery at least, lacking a lot of set pieces, one from either side, but whether it's taken them, whether it's been Usman Dembele or Julian Brandt, the final production of the corner, the final whipping, it's not been there so far for either side. As PSG win the ball and go all the way back to goalkeeper Donnarumma, who looks to spread the line to Hakimi, up and down that right flank game so far, as we've just played it to Dembele, looking to play Emre in, who's been a real bright spark so far whenever he's been on the ball and forward. He's still got control of it. He beats his man, tries to take another on. One too many as Brandt does win it back, and Dortmund counter on here. But Chan is the one who's coming forward. He looks to get a ball into the box. He's got a man at the Emre up in the back post. He's crossed. He's just met by Donnarumma. Not the best delivery, but Emre Chan, maybe that's the one you don't want up there. You don't want Emre Chan. You'd rather have Karim Adeyemi or Julian Brandt whipping the ball in. But PSG, a lot of Dortmund players went
เอาเว้ย
a lot of room being created.
ผมว่าคู่นี้นะ
Just a bit of ping pong in the
ผมว่า
middle.
ปารีสน่าจะชนะได้นิดๆหน่อยๆโหแต่คู่แมนซิตี้นะครับแมนซิตี้ยังยิงไม่ได้เลยนะแต่บาร์ซ่ากดไป 3-0 แล้วครับเพื่อน
The area and chance of fantastic football. He's a defensive fielder. We're just seeing total attempts, 10 for PSG, but none on target. Only 3 for Dortmund, but none on target. As we said earlier, just PSG haven't created a clear-cut chance, but they haven't really been effective with what they've created either.
No, I mean, obviously, Vitinha's strike from the edge of the box was a good strike inside of the post. Obviously, right on target, but that's the closest we've come to a goal. And although I've said Dortmund are actually defending pretty much most of the game, do actually get bodies forward every time they've come forward. This is how they're winning corners, of course. They've got an extra man up, maybe PSG aren't quite anticipated. There is a threat on the counter. They just aren't seeing that much of the ball. But the last attack, Chan's cross into 2-3 in the
ดู
box.
ดิครับโอกาสยิง10 ครั้งนี่ยังไม่เข้ากรอบเลยนะปารีสอะ
For 20 minutes. So if they get the ball, they're not afraid to get it forward. But obviously, in and around the box, defences are on top, really. I think Dortmund are probably keener to get bodies in the middle to capitalise on crosses. I think PSG want ball to feet, getting behind the 1-2s, that kind of thing. They're not just going to throw it into the box willy-nilly. Dortmund, I don't think, care about that. They've got a chance to cross, they'll cross. Obviously, Chan's last effort was pretty poor then.
Yeah, if anything, maybe if, like I say, if you have someone else other than Emre Can there whipping the cross in, not doing too bad with the delivery, but not the best chance that Dortmund created. Just got a bit of a in Lucas Hernandez and Karim Adeyemi the throw in, and it's been given as a foul throw. Lucas Hernandez took it, and it's been given to Dortmund. Wolf just got it in the middle of his own half on the right-hand side. Dortmund now looking to just approaching after the 37th minute, maybe looking to get back on the ball, maybe take some sting out of the play that PSG have had, and them on the tempo for Dortmund, and kind of put PSG on the back foot really, as they haven't created the chances, but they have had all the possession and they've really had Dortmund camped in the area as it's out wide to Vitinha. Once ever he's on the ball, he's been really bright so far in the game. He's just lost the ball there, but Emery will won it back well. Again, he's been very bright. Man down, looks to find a ball into the area, but no, he plays out wide. Dembele, who finds Hakimi, who again just pushing forward at any point, finds it out wide to Dembele, ball into the box, but he's blocked off a Dortmund shirt, and another corner now for PSG, and said they don't have the bodies in, but it may be a better delivery, the best delivery PSG could have had, and maybe we could be looking to nearly get a goal here.
Yeah, I'd have to say Dembele's probably been as guilty as anybody of poor crossing. Obviously, we mentioned Chan, but Dembele's had 4 or 5, which don't look like they're going to beat the first man. His corner comes in, deflected off a Dortmund player wide of the far post. Kobel wasn't sure. Marquinhos did get a touch, but it wasn't much of one. It's then hit the thigh. Of Ryerson. Probably convinced to me, but it is another set piece. That's as dangerous as a set piece has been.
Yeah, as it moves, man, Dembele over the ball again from the set piece. Kylian Mbappe has come short. Two French duo looking right here, and it was the best cross so far. They're putting Mbappe looking to find Hakimi on the edge of the box. It's played into Dembele. It was a shot at goal, but he deals with it relatively easily. It was possibly in the far going wide. Kobel was not to know that, but Dembele first time on his right foot. Now PSG looking to up the tempo.
โอ้โหเฮ้ยอีไม่ได้
Mbappe again looking to get the ball into the box. Him against Malin. It bounces off of him. Mbappe again takes his man on, looks to put the cross in, but it goes behind again for the PSG corner as we're just about to approach the 39th minute, and really up in the tempo, and now they're looking to go short with Dembele and Mbappe from these corners. Dembele's going to whip a corner in now, but they've really up the tempo now. Dembele puts his cross in, much better of an area to go for. Nearly goes to Kolo Muani. A few PSG players tempting to get the referee to give a handball. Possibly I might look at that, but the referee's only
ยิงโอ้โห
we're seeing now the danger that once PSG do look up the tempo
เกือบได้ครับเพื่อนๆเดมเบเล่เนี่ยโอ้โหครับเอ็มบัปเป้มาอีกแล้วโอ้โหเอ็มบัปเป้เปิดไม่ดีเอ้าเอ็มบัปเป้ยังได้อยู่เอ็มบัปเป้โอ้โหเอาไว้เตะมุมใหม่นี่ฮะ
It came over 2 players, hit a player's arm. Might see who the culprit was, but didn't move towards the ball. I don't think it's a penalty, but I've seen soft handball penalties get given in Europe. PSG will know about that one. PSG on the end of that one for Manchester United, a ball that was going way over the bar. Was it deliberate? I mean, I guess it was. I mean, it has, I believe, hit the arm, but it's gone, it's a header down past the player who's got a player, Kolo Muani, about 6 feet in the air above him. It's hit him, and we're just waiting for information. Not working well. He's check over. Thankfully, no penalty. It did hit the arm, entirely accidental. They've decided no intent.
Yeah, it would have been not soft is the word to use, but if maybe that was your team you were supporting, I don't think you'd be really happy if it had been given against you. Like you say, it bounced off a few bodies coming in from the corner. See it was Sule. His arm wasn't exactly by his side, but it wasn't out in an
ไม่น่าจะได้
unnatural
อะ
position.
เพื่อน
Ended up hitting the inside of his elbow, and I think that would have been very harsh to have been given as a penalty, like you say. But we have seen penalties given for less than that, especially since VAR's coming in Europe. As PSG now back on the ball, passing it between themselves in the defence. Marquinhos into Skriniar, finds Hernandez. Dortmund looking to press a bit higher, put PSG under a bit more pressure than they have. They've had all the players back so far as Marquinhos looks to play in Colomawani. Cobel looks to come, and then he doesn't, and then he does end up coming for it. Colomawani's opportunity away from him, but that was a good pass from Marquinhos, and he looked to Frenchman in, but now Dortmund back on the ball again, as even though they do try to counter whenever they do the ball PSG, and they've got men up the pitch, but they're playing out from the back, trying to play the Dortmund way. Will whenever they do get the ball in,
โอ้โห
backs, but PSG
ไม่ได้สักทีครับเพื่อนๆแมนซิตี้อ่ะ
back between them. Lucas Hernandez goes all the way back. And Marquinhos must have the most passes so far out the entire side. They've been happy to play with it. Into Hakimi, finds Dembele, who's a bit deeper to find a bit of space. Maybe he's find some space, dribble, take his man on, and it's behind us. Hakimi's found some space on the right hand side. Into Emery, who looks to go into the area, beats his man, but he just loses the ball. His touch is just a bit heavy, but it goes behind for another PSG corner. But the Dortmund players, they're not very happy. Not Emery, just a little bit heavy. He goes sliding in, trying to get across back into the area. It is given as a PSG corner, but again, PSG moving the Dortmund players out of position, and then they up the pace. It slows it down. They drag them out. And lovely, fantastic attacking players. Dembele does whip it in, and Skriniar's header just goes over the bar. But again, a fantastic delivery from Dembele, the best one of the bunch so far. Puts it into a really dangerous area. And it's a lovely jumping header. He's all on his own, though, in all fairness. Maybe Dortmund will be looking back at that and saying, who's their man? And it wasn't.
โอ้โห
It was Lucas Hernandez's header. It was all on his own. It just goes over the bar of Cobel, and that's been the best chance for PSG so far. And we're just a few minutes away from added time. Luis Enrique, you'd have thought that took 1-0 into the half-time break.
Yeah, I mean, he's got it at the target for me. I don't know whether it was because Sule ended up on the deck, locked off, that kind of thing. But arguably, it was the one player who wasn't moving in the box. And of course, it was a free header, maybe 7-8 yards out, nothing more. You've got to at least work the keeper, surely. And it's not that far over the bar, but it's over the bar, and that's a big chance. It's still 0-0. There's only a minute of the first half left. Dortmund have been defending for long periods, but they're not working the keeper. They're not capitalising PSG, and of course, after Friday's defeat, the fans might well be letting them know about it.
Yeah, you're at home again, and you've got the opportunity to, obviously that was in the league, it's in the Champions League, but you've got an opportunity to prove yourself. It's first game of the Champions League. Everyone wants to get off to a good start, and with the group that they're in with Dortmund, Milan and Newcastle, it's hard to win. No way, you really want to take advantage of that. As Colomawani wins it right Dortmund's area, looks to play Kylian Mbappe, but his touch is just off, and Dortmund win it back. Right side, to play it long to Adeyemi, who's first touching the best, but he does win it back with a second. Julian Brandt now looking to hit on the counter as we're just about to hit the 45th minute in just a few seconds, and Dortmund don't really take advantage of the counter attack again as Donnarumma comes flying out with the ball tips out his own man.
ฝากพี่ๆด้วยนะครับ เข้ามาแล้วฝากกดไลค์กดแชร์กดติดตามให้ด้วยนะ
In about 10 seconds or so, they had a time board go up, but PSG strike late on here as Ousmane Dembele looks to take his man and looks to get a ball into the area, but again flying across, bottom back, he looks to win the ball well, flying over, and he wins it well, and goes all
เอาหลุดแล้วโมนี่
throwing
อื้อหือ
out to hit the half time. Added time, we've got 3 minutes added time, we see. So just a few more minutes left. Either team, obviously PSG have been on the front foot. They haven't really had obviously majority of possession, more possession than Dortmund. But maybe Dortmund looking to hit on the counter, strike, get a goal, going into half time, where PSG prove the dominant possession they've had and going in the lead with just a few minutes left.
Yeah, I mean, his possession stats, you said 70-30. I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually gone up in the last 5 minutes, so 3 minutes to stop this time. Dortmund, I think, would take a point. I mean, essentially, Dortmund have set up. We're going to defend and try and hit on the counter. A lot of teams do that, particularly away from home. And I would argue it's not ineffective because they have threatened Donnarumma's goal. That Malin strike was a pretty good one. It falls to say, but against PSG, you possibly need a little bit more than that. I don't think Dortmund are going to score, if I'm being honest, because PSG winning the ball back pretty quickly. All those defenders are back there, and PSG are controlling this game. I just think PSG could be better with the final pass. I think getting to the area is fine, but it's the final pass that's the problem.
Yeah, PSG, plenty of times in the first half I've got into the edge of the areas. We just seen Kylian Mbappe gets the edge of the area then, and they're getting in the position. Mbappe got in the position. First touch beats his man, beats Wolf. Second touch trying to get past him, just a bit too heavy. Just basically proving your point. Just lacking the final touch, the end product of PSG. They've been in Dortmund's half a lot. They've been in Dortmund's box and 20, 25 yards out from goal. A lot of touches around there, but being able to get that killer instinct out of them so far. The best chance of it falling to Vitinha and Hernandez header, but from open play they've only really had the Vitinha chance. They haven't really been able to create anything clear cut, especially not being able to test Coquelin very much. And Luis Enrique, you'd be quite disappointed because especially obviously his game plan is that he wants a lot of ball, he wants to pass it around, but there's only one stat that matters in football. It's the top left corner, and from what they've had, they haven't created what you want from the possession they've had.
No, they definitely haven't. They have it. They could have easily scored, but
เอาละครับเพื่อน
Nicolo Mane is a big signing, wasn't he? In terms of
ๆก็ฟูลซิตี้นะครับยังเสมออยู่0-0เลย
the one that's been the quietest, and he's in the middle.
ผู้อื่นเป็นยังไงบ้างหูปอร์โต้นะครับนำชัตเตอร์โดเนต3-1นะครับเพื่อนๆแอดมาดริดนะครับนำลาซิโอ1-0แล้วก็เฟย์นูดนำเซลติกนะครับ1-0อ้าวนะครับคู่ซิตี้นะครับซิตี้โดนนำแล้วนะครับเพื่อนๆ1-0เดี๋ยวต้องดูอีกทีนะเช็ค VAR อยู่งานเข้าเหรอมึงซิตี้โดนนำอ่ะ
Dortmund, pretty much 3 minutes of stoppage time up. Last attack probably.
Yeah, last chance.
เช็คอยู่นะครับเช็ค VR เรียบร้อยครับได้ประตูด้วยเฮ้ยเอาแล้วครับแมนซิตี้โดนนำเหี้ยแล้วไงแชมป์เก่า
Very dominant in possession, but it's still 0-0 at the Parc des Princes as we just approach half time.
ชิบหายแล้วไงเพื่อนๆแมนซิตี้โดนน
Right, see once.
ำ
Bang at 36. Relative. But because it's live, you can't do could, but might be speak slower, don't make mistakes. That's not problem. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's
จบเกมครับเพื่อน
Borussia Dortmund nil. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha, Dembele and
รอสักแป๊บนะเพื่อนๆพักครึ่งไม่มีอะไรครับสูสีคู่นี้สูสีมาก
Dortmund playing on the counter. Malin bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. It can't be longer than 30 seconds. So obviously instances. But I'm hopeful. Like, I know that's not over. Sometimes over there. Not a lot we can do about it. I mean, it's not particularly in depth. They just a line enough. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. The PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. The PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. The PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. The PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with
รอสักแป๊บนะครับเพื่อน
Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. The PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. The PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. The PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. The PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. The PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. The PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Milan bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Milan bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Milan bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Milan bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Milan bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Milan bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Milan bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Milan bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Milan bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Milan bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. PSG have dominated the opening half. Perhaps clear-cut chances haven't been as frequent as the possession stats might suggest, but they did hit the inside of the post with Kobel beaten through Vitinha. Dembele and Skriniar have had opportunities as well. They arguably should be in front. Dortmund playing on the counter. Marlon bringing a decent save out of Donnarumma. 0-0. Of time at the Parc des Princes, and it's Paris Saint-Germain 0, Borussia Dortmund. Well, a warm welcome back to our coverage of the action taking place at the Parc des Princes, and it's 0-0 at the break. PSG, the better of the two sides, possession, territory, etc. Maybe even shots on target, but there weren't many between the two sides in that regard, because that's what has been letting PSG down, not hitting the target. They were unlucky to see an effort come back off the inside of the post with a lovely move. Vitinha with the finish that quite finished the ball, but it hit the inside of the post after beating the keeper. The second half has just got underway. No changes at the break. I'll give you those lineups in a moment. As I say, myself, Rob Eddy, and Lewis Raftery taking you through this one. Are we expecting a different second half?
Different, hopefully, in terms of chances created. Hopefully, both teams can, when they actually get into the final third, have the final product. Really, the PSG have been so far into Dortmund's half, and they've been in their area, on the edge of the area, but just the final shot, the final pass, final cross, just hasn't been there for them. And it's same with Dortmund. They've been very sat back, but whenever they've gone forward, they've been very effective. Daniel Malen had a good chance. So hopefully maybe a bit more goals in the second half, more more action in terms of shots, more action for the goalkeepers. Donnarumma hasn't really done much in Cabell. Hopefully a bit more of a positive second half in terms of Dortmund, but both sides, I think, be decently happy until maybe get to the 70th minute.
Dembele works it lovely down the right-hand side with Hakimi. Crosses back in. It's deflected away by Mbappe. Is that a penalty? Mbappe went for the shot. Is it a handball? It was blocked pretty much at source. The referee has been surrounded by the referee. And I'm assuming that's because it was a lovely move from Dembele. I'm assuming that's because it's a penalty. It was shot. It was blocked by Sule. Now, is his arm out? It's definitely hit the arm. Definitely hit the arm. Is that deliberate? A penalty has been given. Dortmund are arguing the case. I presume VAR will take a look. A, is it a penalty? And B, will it get overturned?
Oh, Dembele.
I think that, again, it's
Oh.
Sule, if you Dortmund.
โอ้โหเอ็มบัปเป้
But if you PSG,
เรียบร้อยจุดโทษ
it's not the arm isn't in an unnatural position. If
อ้าวเพื่อน
it's out away from his body, which
ๆซิตี้ตีเสมอได้แล้ว
given is not necessarily a ball to hand, a handball, as we spoke about in the first half with a VAR review for a penalty in the first half. European Football Champions League, Europa League, all them competitions, they seem to not overturn them as much. So I would be shocked. I'm not saying it's a penalty. It'd be up in the air if you think it is. It is a handball, but sometimes decisions go either way. But I don't think it'll be overturned. I think PSG will get the penalty here.
Yeah, penalty has been awarded. I'm not convinced that's a penalty in the sense that if that's a shot, it's going off target by a country mile. I don't think he's passing it to anyone. I don't know how that's deliberate. That's not to say it won't get overturned. The check is over, but now we're getting a replay of it. I mean, if that's a shot, that's hitting the corner flag. It is a penalty because Mbappe is placing the ball on the spot. No surprise there, perhaps. So the referee, VAR has not overturned the referee's decision. Penalty was awarded and it's been upheld. So this is a penalty kick which could instantly change the game. It's come so quickly after the break. Weren't necessarily expecting a different game plan until the scoreboard changed. And it might just do that. Kylian Mbappe it is
โทษ
with the game's
ได้อยู่ดีครับ
best
เพื่อน
opportunity. It's got obviously Kobel to beat. It's a short runner. Been clinical from the spot, but he's beaten the keeper who guessed the right way. Couldn't keep it out. Bottom corner to the keeper's right. PSG, probably deservedly, are in front by a goal to nil.
Yeah, lovely penalty, lovely struck, like you said. Sometimes I see the shot run up and question whether you can get a lot of power on it, but there was a good amount of power on it, but the precision and it was just right in the bottom corner. It was so far away from Kobel. He dived the right way, and from a goalkeeper's point of view, there's not much more you could do, but that's right in the bottom corner. That's just a 10 out of 10 penalty from Kylian Mbappe. Like you say, from the first half, they've dominated possession of PSG, and from the chance created that the penalty was given, it was lovely interplay from Dembele and Hakimi down the right-hand side. So PSG
เรียบร้อย เอาเว้ยเอเชนำเว้ย
they'll be quite happy with how it's worked out so far. 1-0 up. Now it's about how Dortmund can react from going 1-0 down, especially to a penalty.
Yeah, speaking of goals quickly after the restarts, Man City, as they did at the weekend, have levelled matters at home to Vs Zvezda. It was a late first half goal for the visitors to the Etihad. It's an early second half goal for Man City. Julian Alvarez with the equaliser. Just a recap of the scores and scorers. Of the scores rather. The early games: AC Milan, Newcastle finished 0-0. Young Boys 1, RB Leipzig 3. And in the 8 o'clock kickoffs, of course, those two matches are both results. Barcelona lead Royal Antwerp by 3-0. Feyenoord 1-0 up at home to Celtic. Lazio trailing at home to Atletico Madrid by 1-0. It is, of course, Man City 1, Vs Zvezda 1, Shakhtar 1, FC Porto 3. Of course, in our game, the focus on Paris Saint-Germain, Borussia Dortmund, and it's the hosts who lead thanks to Kylian Mbappe. From the spot, Vitinha has dispossessed Ryerson, and the break is on again for Paris Saint-Germain. Of course, Dortmund might commit a few more bodies forward. Might open the door for further PSG goals. I say this with Kylian Mbappe barely walking in possession. With Play Emery out to the right-hand side, and Dembele, who played his part in the goal, of course, beat his man, worked a 1-2, cross in, and it led to the penalty shout. Trying to bring it clear was Malin, but he's dispossessed. Dembele, Hakimi, high up the pitch for PSG. Zaire Emery to Hakimi, poor pass from fullback. Opportunity for Dortmund to clear, and Brandt nods it down. He's going to get the free kick. And he didn't really have many options there, so a little bit silly from Hernandez, who arguably did something similar on Harry Kane at the World Cup. Charged into the back of his man and giving away a decision. This time it's a free kick at the centre circle. That is potentially damaging. We don't know what happened. World Cup. Barcelona have got a fourth, so they lead Royal Antwerp 4-0. Man City, well, they were on level terms for not very long. They're 2-1 up now. Time team talks working for Pep Guardiola. It would appear PSG lead this by a goal to nil. Now, they're not likely to change their tactics. Dortmund got to be a little bit more adventurous. I'll bring in Lewis in a moment because they have won the ball back and are on the attack, although that's loose from Marlon. Lost a bit of momentum, passing it back towards Brandt. Then it's given away by Ryerson. They've surely got to be a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, out of the two sides, you're spot on as coming on the line. It looks to come on forward now. PSG, even though it's coming from the penalty spot, you'd have to say that the tactic, the game plan, it's worked spot on so far. They've dominated possession, they've created a good amount of chances in the first half, and then now that they are 1-0 up, I think you were saying in the first half, you're spot on. They're playing like they are leading 2-3, 4-0, and sauntering around the pitch, keeping possession, not throwing too many players forward. But now, when they are 1-0 up as they are, you have a bit more right to do that, and you can see why they're doing that. When they're 1-0 up now, Dortmund, they're going to have to up the tempo a bit, maybe throw more players forward. Not just yet, we're just 53rd minute, there's still a lot of the game to go. But if it's still 1-0 in 20 minutes time, 15 minutes time, that's when you could see Dortmund push a few players up, make a few substitutions, but that could be a positive for PSG. That'll open up some space in behind, and we all know the danger of the pace that the front three in Mbappe, Dembele, and Milani have. So that could be a positive for PSG as we get later in the game.
Incidentally, that Man City second goal chucked off for offsides. That's still one apiece. Dortmund on the attack down their left-hand side with Ryerson. Nemecha trying to work a 1-2. It's a little bit scrappy, but fighting for the ball is Ryerson. He's in the D. Shots is blocked. Was he fouled in the build-up? No, says the referee. It was charged down in the end by Hernandez. Made it easy for Donnarumma. Just one tackle after another. There's a little in there as well. Maybe did Ogati catch his man? Maybe he's got a case there, Ryerson. Looking at a replay, actually. And yeah, I'm not convinced. On the replay, I'm not convinced. I think when the tackle was made, tried to make it look obvious, but there isn't that much contact there.
No, I can see why Rice has gone down. It looks like he's just been caught, just being nicked by Ugarte. Get 2 or 3 players at his heels as well, trying to get the ball off of him. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's something that you'd be, the referee blowing his whistle, and it's something that's quite clear and obvious. And it would be questioned whether it had been a free kick or a penalty. I assume Rice would have said it's a penalty because I've landed in the box, but it looked like it clipped outside the area as well. He's watching the penalty. Replay from Kylian Mbappe, first goal, first game in the Champions League. He's up and ready now, and that'll just give him a lot of confidence, obviously. As you said earlier, PSG haven't, especially to their standards, really started the season on top form, but Kylian Mbappe has, and he's just continued with the Champions League, so more confidence for the Frenchman going into the rest of the group stage.
Yeah, he scored both the goals in the 3-2 defeat at home to Nice on Friday. He scored the first in this game.
ครับเพื่อนๆแมนซิตี้นะครับยังเสมออยู่นะ1-1 ปารีสนะครับนำหลอดหมุนแล้ว 1-0
Maybe was on the stretch, didn't quite get the contact he wanted. I'm not that he's had the best game though personally. Been a little bit more involved. He does perhaps rely on service more than the other two that I've mentioned there, Mbappe and Dembele, etc. So necessarily his fault as PSG work it back to Donnarumma. Senior up to the halfway line and Kolomwani fed out to the right hand side and Hakimi down the line.
สวัสดีครับ
Dembele on the
ปา
halfway
ซ่า
line.
4-0 ครับพี่
He's dispossessed and out of position. Chance comes in from Ugarte. In fact, it's
ปาซ่านะ
Emery
4-0 ก็มีเจ้าฟิลิปนะครับยิงลูกแรกเลวานลูก2แล้วก็ทำเข้าประตูตัวเอง1แล้วก็เป็นกาบี้นะครับประตูที่4 4-0 พี่บาร์ซ่าแต่แมนซิตี้นะครับเสมอแมนซิตี้เสมอ1-1
tell them all evening because they've made a slow start to the campaign and they're knocking it around. In the first half, when they had possession largely in the Dortmund half. Now they're leading. Quite happy for the defenders to knock it around. Is this a big game, or are PSG being a little bit too nonchalant with it? I don't want to use nonchalant too often, but they seem quite relaxed. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, whenever on the ball, there doesn't seem to be maybe urgency on the ball. The urgency from the players in for PSG seems to come from when Mbappe gets on the ball and Dembele gets on the ball. Apart from that, seems to be happy to slow the game down as a 1-2 there with Hernandez and Mbappe as he looks to go down the left-hand side. This is where the pace picks up when they're on the wings. He looks to whip a ball. They're not the best ball in the world. Also, Vitinha maybe looking to strike it, but PSG, Dortmund have really pushed up so far in the second half and really brought it on to PSG.
Vitinha to Hakimi, back to Vitinha, back to Hakimi, who's put it in the back of the net. Well, lovely stuff from PSG. A lovely finish as well from Hakimi. He faked the shot, a big one play, 6 yards out, keeper no chance at all. That's why they were nonchalant to draw Dortmund out, hit them in behind. Started by the pace of Mbappe. It looked as though Dortmund had got enough bodies back there, but what lovely play Vitinha and
สวัสดีนะครับพี่ๆทุกคน
the latter who doubles the advantage. 58 minutes ticking over. 2-0 to PSG.
ไม่ได้แมนซิตี้
The second half, just lovely, just watching the feet there, the feet of Hakimi. Obviously, he's a real attacking
Vitinha
fullback, but you would think if fullback
วิตินญาตอกส้นสวยสวยครับวิตินญาทีมยิงเรียบร้อยครับโอ้โห2-0เอาเว้ยเพื่อนๆโอ้โหแม่งสวยจัดนะวิตินญากับฮาคิวมี่นะครับเล่นกันอยู่2 คน
quick 1-2 touches as soon as Mbappe's on the ball. He's not the one looking to slow play it down, and it made its way all the way over to the other side for Hakimi. As you said earlier, it's looking like it's 4 up front. He's looking like Dembele.
สวยจัดเล่นอยู่2 คนน่ะวิตินญาฮาคิวมี่
There, he got so far forward that he was 6 yards out from goal, and just a fantastic finish from the Moroccan.
Dortmund then under pressure. There, of course, will be at home next time out against AC Milan. Couple of weeks.
โอ้โหหลอกสวยจัด
PSG travel to Newcastle. That's Hernandez alliance with Marlon. He's not going to get the free kick. He won the defensive header. Dortmund have the throw-in on the halfway line, and they're not wasting any time now. Working it into Brandt, 25 yards out. Thought about the shot, then under-hit the pass. Intercepted by the second goal scorer Hakimi. Tried to instigate a quick counter, but then gave the ball away looking for Dembele. The Dortmund have possession back on the halfway line to Brandt. Now May lining up a shot. He's dragged it wide. The PSG are going to face shots from 20-25 yards. They'll probably be happy. Not the best strike in the end, and it's still 2-0.
Yeah, so I think if you're one of Malon's teammates, you won't be best pleased. They had a few bodies forward, and he wasn't in the position maybe to take the shot. He didn't fall to him very nicely, or
แมนซิตี้เสียประตูได้ไงครับเจออ่อนไม่ใช่เหรอโดนยิงก่อนเลยพี่เพิ่งมาตีเสมอได้ตอนต้นครึ่งหลังเนี่ยพี่แมนซิตี้อ่ะผมก็นึกว่ากินหมูเหมือนกันผมก็เลยไม่ได้ไลค์คู่ซิตี้เจออ่อนผมเลยมาไลค์คู่ปารีสกับดอร์ทมุนด์เนี่ยพี่ที่ผ่านแต่ผมดูอยู่พี่ผมดู3 จอเลยนี่มาดูมีปารีสมีบาร์ซ่ามีแมนซิตี้ผมดู3 จอเนี่ย2 จอคอมผมเนี่ยผมเปิดแน่นเอียดเลยอ้าวเรียบร้อย 2-1 ว่ะไอ้เหี้ยเอาละครับเพื่อนๆแมนซิตี้มาแล้ว
All the men in blue slipped by
แมนซิตี้นำ 2-1 แล้ว
Mbappe looked for an early ball to the far post. It was actually Kolo Muani arriving there at the far post. It was Dembele playing through the middle on that last attack. We talked about their fluidity. Just lacked a little bit of pace in the pass from Mbappe. Nice idea, but it's been 3.
Yeah, as I said earlier, I think now that Dortmund they are 2-0 down, they've got to throw a lot more.
ไอ้
bodies
ห่า
forward,
โช
which
ก
is
พลา
gonna
ด
work
ไอ
in
เว
favour
น
of PSG.
เจอบอลซ้ายโอ้โห
Dembele and Mane and Mbappe, and all of them can play through the middle, all of them can play on the left, all of them can play on the right. It can just be so dangerous that when you throw players forward, you've already got a free at the back as it is. It can become a free-on-free situation, and at the end of the day, that also means that Kabila, if you're pushing more players forward,
เตะไป
When
อื้อ
you've
หื
got Kylian Mbappe
อ
running in behind you, Dembele running behind you, it's just going to be dangerous for the Dortmund defence to counter-attack that.
Couple of changes made by Dortmund. I suppose it's like for like. Fulkrug and Royce are coming on for Marlins and Brandt. Have much possession to work with Borussia Dortmund, but now the onus is on them to try and turn this game around. Had plenty of issues on the injury front. Major tournaments with Germany because of those injuries. Getting on now a little bit, but on his day, class act. Whether his day has been and gone, I'm not entirely sure, but
ฝากด้วยนะครับพี่ๆเพื่อนเอาละครับ เปลี่ยนตัวแล้ว
The amount of times he were linked with other clubs, Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Real Madrid. I think that just sometimes shows a class act to the player, and hopefully he's going to come on now. He's got less than 30 minutes, and of course he had his time that we couldn't get to come on, make an impact. He's missed the Borussia Dortmund. Maybe he could be the one to come on.
คู่อื่นนะครับเพื่อนๆที่เตะอยู่นะครับตอนนี้นะครับคู่ปารีสของเรานะครับนำดอร์ทมุนด์ 2-0 แมนซิตี้นะครับก็นำเซเวอร์นาซาวาด้านะครับ 2-1 แอตมาดริดนะครับนำลาซิโอ 1-0 บาร์เซโลนานะครับนำรอยัลอัสเวอร์นะครับ4-0 เฟเนยูดนะครับนำเซลติก 1-0 แล้วก็แอตตาโดเนตนะครับตามปอร์โตอยู่1-3นะครับเพื่อนๆ
So that is a free kick to Dortmund, who trail by 2-0. Both goals coming in this second half. Mbappe from the penalty spot, and Hakimi, a lovely interchange as Hummels takes a little bit of a chance. He's fortunately fouled.
พรุ่งนี้นี่มันเลยนะพุ่งบาเยิร์นเจอแมนยูอ่ะเพื่อนๆ 1:00 แล้วก็มีอาร์เซนอลด้วยยาวๆเลยครับเพื่อนๆพรุ่งนี้
So Colin couldn't help himself having a little nibble at the German centre back. Well, Dortmund try and get it downfield fairly quickly, but Fulkrug outnumbered. He can't keep possession.
โอ้โหเอ็มบัปเป้
Penalty
โอ้ฟาว
has come in another game, and that is type as Lager Bielka has been sent off to Celtic. Bayern have a penalty kick to go 2-0 up. They, of course, already lead by a goal to nil, but Celtic down to 10 men in that one. Dortmund 2-0 down, trying to turn things around, probably getting more bodies downfield consistently, but they're not getting chances in the PSG box at the moment. They've probably offered more threat first half than they have so far in the second.
Yeah, they've created a good amount of chances from the little that they had, but what's nice to see, they are 2-0 down now, so you've kind of brought more players forward and a bit more attacking and maybe change your tactic. But I do feel that maybe if Dortmund would have played like this from the first minute, that's when you can cause PSG, put them under pressure. Like you say, maybe the heads could have dropped after Friday's loss. So, but now they've up to get forward. They've brought on Royce.
2-0 แล้วเพื่อนๆคู่เรา
Ball a few times.
ก็ต้องดูอีกทีหนึ่ง
That's where it can work against you when you've got Dembele and Mbappe running at you. I can understand why you don't throw as many players forward, but Dortmund have looked really positive. It's taken them going 2-0 down.
เฮ้ยบาร์ซ่า5ว่ะเพื่อน
A lot more attacking so far.
ๆดาวฟิลิปอีกแล้ว
Incidentally, Feyenoord missed that penalty, so it's still Feyenoord 1, Celtic 0. Barcelona have got a fifth at home to Royal Antwerp. Hakimi has rather jumped into Schlotterbeck rather than trying to go for the ball, so he's committed a foul on the halfway line. Free kick to Borussia Dortmund. Barcelona got a fifth. João Felix completed his hat-trick and control that game. Man City are 2-1 up. Julian Alvarez scoring both goals at City behind. Obviously, that was a similar kick-off to this one, so around about the 65-66-minute mark. PSG weathering the Dortmund storm. Just made themselves a little bit more physical without the ball the last few minutes, as Colin is tackled well by Hummels inside the Dortmund half, and the other side have it back. Royce bringing it forward. There's space on the left, but instead they try and go through the middle. Emre Can just trying to drive his way through. A player goes down, left-footed shot blocked by, well, Royce took the shot. Fulkrug got in the way. Yellow card given against Schlotterbeck for a foul on Kolo Mwani. Schlotterbeck is saying something to the referee, which clearly annoyed a few PSG players. Schlotterbeck is in the book, though, and the referee's got a little bit of sorting out to do here.
Yeah, we're just watching it. Mbappe looked a little bit physical there with Schlotterbeck. Clearly what happened with some of the referees just came back and just letting the players handle their business and sort it out between themselves. But, I mean, it was a good opportunity there. I mean, Dembele was looking to return, and Schlotterbeck, he obviously tried to go for the ball. Nothing cynical about it, but he did obviously go for the back.
โอ้ติดหัว
Card to him there is also, I believe, just by our pictures, going to get a card to Emre
Oh,
Can.
no,
There's
yeah.
also a few players in the book now that the PSG, I assume, will look to really push with that. And if you've got Schlotterbeck and Emre Can on yellow cards, if you get Kylian Mbappe, Moussa Dembele,
อ้าวเฮ้ยมีเรื่องกันแล้ว
I mean, there you go. You can't put your foot in there, and it's a bit easy to beat your man.
Tap on the shoulder from Emre Can, on the shoulder of the referee, that is. Might have got a different reaction on another day, a little bit petulant, obviously sarcastic. He's just been booked, depends on the referee, I guess. Just got a little bit scrappy, that might make things a little bit more spicy for the final quarter of the game. The referee is just looking at potential, the VAR officials are looking at a potential red card. Don't know whether that was for the melee that ensued the initial challenge to Schlotterbeck's yellow card. There's a lot of pushing and shoving. Checks over, no red card. Thankfully, sense that seen any punches being thrown or anything like that, but that has been written off. PSG lead by 2-0. They're in control of this game. The last thing they want to do is perhaps turn this into something of a fight, because it might give Dortmund a better opportunity. They're getting played off the park, so if it gets a bit more feisty, they might have a chance.
Yeah, maybe just up the aggressiveness, basically, and just get a few players to lose their heads, if you would say, and just maybe, take them out of the game a little bit. It's an important part of the game now, as we're just 68.5 minutes in, that we've had a long game so far. PSG have had a lot of the ball. Dortmund haven't really had that much to do in terms of on the ball. They've sat back a lot, but also maybe a lot of tired legs that when Dortmund are trying to go forward now, you've had that much work done in your defensive end that it's hard to get further up the field, which brought on 2 players, but maybe looking at your bench a bit more now at this time to, more than anything, just get fresh legs on the pitch and give PSG something to think about as we tick into the latter half of the game.
Yeah, just an update elsewhere. Odin Home has been sent off for Celtic.
จ้ะเพื่อนๆจะ70แล้วเพื่อน
Only trailing by 1-0 at the moment, but they are now down to 9 men away at Feyenoord. Don't think there's any further goals to speak of at the moment, but we've got just under a quarter of the game left, depending on how much stoppage time is added on. Paris Saint-Germain in control of this one, 2-0 up. Here's Lewis.
Very much for that. Looking forward to the rest of the game as PSG 2-0 up, as you say. Now looking to maybe just as a nice little rest of the game. They don't want Dortmund putting them under too much pressure, but seemingly Dortmund have thrown bodies forward as a look to do now, get on the counter-attack and put PSG under some pressure, maybe get a goal, not too late, give them a bit of chance in the game, but they've thrown more bodies forward this second half as they're on the ball now in PSG's half. Everyone, Bell, the Dortmund goalkeeper, is in at the PSG half as Schlotterbeck just running at his man and no one taking him out. All it's a set piece and corner now for PSG, given away by Hakimi. Schlotterbeck was blocked by him, and it's another chance for Dortmund to get players at the pitch. Hummels coming up after his heroics at the weekend. Maybe he wasn't himself on the score sheet. And in the first half, Dortmund had a few set pieces, unable to take advantage of many of them. You've now got Marco Reus on the pitch. He came on for Julian Brandt. He was the man in question who took many of the free kicks, if not all of them, or the corners. So maybe now a better set piece quality player coming on in Marco Reus could get an opportunity for him.
It's that piece we didn't see too much threat, did we? But I mean, I think they're just going to sling it in there. Obviously, Hummels, Schlotterbeck, Sule up from the back. I mean, there is a physical presence there, and I don't think this is the biggest defensive side you're ever going to see.
No, as it comes into the box from Adeyemi, falls to Emre Can on the edge of the box. His shot is blocked by a PSG defender, and now the counter is on for PSG as Kylian Mbappe looks to play in Dembele, who's through on the right-hand side, looks to use his pace to get in behind, but Emre Can is the captain, is at the back there. Beats Dembele for pace, something that you're not likely to see probably for the rest of this game, but Emre Can got his legs going, stopped the counter-attack there from PSG. It looked very dangerous there, but he did clear it away only for a PSG throwing still high right-hand side for PSG, but that's just the danger there. The Dortmund, they're already 2-0 down. They've had a lot of players forward there for the corner, but shows it went to Mbappe and he had runners in behind. His pass found Dembele, a lovely pass. That just shows the danger with Dortmund throwing more players forward that PSG could increase the lead as the game goes on.
Yeah, just dealt with that throw in there. Set pieces again, really a problem.
Away.
Pace to exploit the gap in behind there because it downfield. We've seen that a few times just in football these days. Set piece opportunity. I know this one was a throw-in, but the swift transition happens all the time. PSG had it moments ago. Dortmund had it there. As I say, Marlon might have been a better proposition for that kind of counter, but Fulkrug couldn't quite exploit it. Man City got a third, by the way. Feyenoord had a second goal chalked off for offside. That's still 1-0. Rodri scored Manchester City's third. They were 1-0 down at the break, now lead 3-1. A little bit like at the weekend against West Ham. But yeah, for me, Dortmund, huffing and puffing. There was a point in the first half where I didn't think they were going to score. It's just ever increased because I just don't think they offer enough.
ครับเพื่อนๆ20 นาทีสุดท้ายคู่อื่นนะครับแมนซิตี้นะครับก็ยัง 2-1 เหมือนเดิม
Out wide to Lucas Hernandez as Paris back on the ball now. Mbappe on the left-hand side, but 1-2 with Vitinha. Back to Mbappe on the left-hand side, and once he gets on the ball, it's just his wheelhouse. He's running the
โอ้โห 3-1 โรดี้เฮียยิงโคตรสวยเลย
Out wide to Dembele, looking to take his man up. He plays it into the area. First touch from Kylian Mbappe isn't all there, and it's cleared away by Hummels, and it finds its way all the way to Wolf on the right-hand side. As Dortmund look to counter-attack, but they're not getting forward. A bit lacking the pace and the quality getting in behind there, because they did have a chance there that PSG have thrown a few players forward. All the midfield three were forward, the forward three were forward. And it just came to Wolf and he just didn't really do anything with it. His pass, it looked to slow them down. He's been up and down that right flank so much. He's put a lot of sweat into the game. But you'd like to think his pass there into Adeyemi on the right-hand side would have been a bit better, more quality from him.
Yeah, I mean, they could have got forward. We saw in the first half that they actually got bodies forward quickly on the counter. The counter was here comes Royce though. A low ball in towards the far post. It's cleared away by Skriniar.
โอ้โหโรดี้แม่งสุดยอดเพื่อน
chance trying to control it, but ultimately clears. I say clears. The senior is now leading the counter. He's starting to get a little bit more open.
Yeah, a bit more back and forth now that both teams are throwing players forward. That whenever one goes for the attack, PSG now just slowing the game down back to Hakimi, who's not as far forward as he was to get the goal for himself. But both teams pushing players forward. Whenever one's on the attack, it looks to be a straight counter from the team. So many bodies are up the pitch and there's just
ปารีสน่าจะชนะล่ะเพื่อนๆแล้วก็บาร์ซ่าก็ 5-0 แล้วครับเพื่อนๆแมนซิตี้ 3-1
But as the time ticks away, time could be the enemy here for Dortmund. If they'd have got a goal by now going into the final minutes, a lot more happier. Just about to see sub coming on for Dortmund for confirmation of who it is, but he's Leone Gittens, who's coming on, number 43 for Dortmund. He's coming on the pitch now. But it looks like it's Adeyemi who will be coming off. A bit of fresh legs up front for Dortmund. As I said, it's been a long game, but they've put a lot of defence into the game. They've been run ragged by the possession that PSG have had. Getting some fresh legs on. It's worked with Royce so far. Could it work here now?
Yeah, I mean, I think
ชิบหายแล้วบาร์ซ่า
Emre Can, he's in shot.
โอ้โหบาร์ซ่า
maybe that was maybe it was meant to be a Adeyemi, so they just actually we've got another glimpse. A player is down. I think that's Ryerson, who's down, so they might just hold back on the change. If sorry, it's Wolf on Wolf. Looks like he's holding his right calf, so could be calf. He's injured. They might not want to do that change. They have made 3 changes already. No, Emery Chan, he has gone off. He perhaps didn't see the board. He was reluctant, but he's been forced off now. Feyenoord have got a second goal. They've missed a penalty. They've had a goal chalked off, but that second goal against 9-man Celtic has now gone in. Jahanbach with the strike there. So Feyenoord seemingly cruising to victory there, considering Celtic have had 2 red cards. So just a quick update while we wait for Wolf to get sorted. Bossa 5, Antwerp 0, Feyenoord 2, Celtic 0, Lazio 0, Atletico Madrid 1, Man City 3, Zvezda 1, Shakhtar 1, Porto 3. It was 3-1 very early in the game there, so goals in that one. And of course, in our game, both goals in the second half, both to PSG. They lead by 2-0. Looks as though, I think, given that there's a player ready to come on, that Wolf won't be
5 นาทีสุดท้ายครับ
re-entering the
เพื่อน
fray.
Yeah, no, just waiting for it, and there we go. It's Bayan who's coming on for Wolf, and we just had a few minutes now. It's for maybe both coaches to get a game plan out to them, as we're just seeing the referees off officials board go up, and there's still a bit of confusion, I think, between the officials and the players on the pitch and the managers, as we've just had a few waiting around now, as we've just seen now. Wolf just walking off number 5, Remy Benessabani is coming on. Placement again, more legs coming on, fresh legs coming on for Dortmund. All part of the game. We're just 77 minutes. That'll obviously add some time on now, but added time that we'll get about 12, 13 minutes or so. PSG back on the ball now. It's up to Dortmund to push the pace now, get on them, press higher up the field. Have done, but PSG happy again to just pass it around and it comes down to Lucas Hernandez. Let it into Garte. It's just probably the back 4, back 5 of PSG. The amount of passes and touches they've had, probably more than maybe the entire Dortmund team at this point, have just been all over them possession-wise. Left the back, bit risky because Dortmund had a lot of players forward there, but the quick transition up to Kolo Moane into Emery, who is passing a little bit off to Ousmane Dembele, who's right down the right-hand side. Dortmund look to go a bit more direct, but it's cut out by Skriniar, wins it back, plays it to the centre-back partner, Marquinhos, who goes back to Donnarumma, and Dortmund now, in some sense, do you think that 2-0 away to PSG, first game of the Champions League, you would never want to lose a game, you don't want to draw a game, you always want to win, but it's the worst result in the world now, and do you think you might not sit back and accept defeat, but that's better than maybe losing 4-5-0 and pushing bodies forwards?
Yeah, well, he's better, but I'm not sure that's what Dortmund want to do. I think they'll want to get a goal. Maybe if the third goal went in, not much left. There's only 11 minutes stoppage time. They are threatening goal. Oh, it's hit the outside of the post. It's Bino Gittens with a strike. He worked a lovely little 1-2, picked up the ball in a little bit of space, stabbed it forward towards Royce. He's gone for the side foot right, where the ball is going to his left. So that ball is always going to arc away from the near post. If he'd gone the other post, easy to say, he's curling it into the target. He's probably got Donnarumma beat there, but it's hit the outside of the post. That's the closest, obviously, that the visitors have come this evening. A little bit out of nothing, because the last couple of attacks prior to that, it's not sticking, and Fulkrug hasn't made much of an impression. And the last pass was a bit of a hopeless ball, easily gave the ball away, but maybe PSG just got a little bit too lax. A couple of changes made by Paris Saint-Germain. Incidentally, Lewis will catch up to speed with those two. But, I mean, I don't think this game is quite over yet. I think realistically it is, but Dortmund will still go for a goal, in my opinion.
Yeah, as I was saying, that maybe Dortmund will be quite happy to just it's 2-0. Let's maybe not accept that we're losing, but being coming to 4-5-0 and the heads are dropping there. A fantastic bit of interplay. Just in possession, it has dropped 66% possession for Paris Saint-Germain, but they've had 15 attempts at goal, but only 2 on target. Obviously, that's come for the 2 goals. That just shows they've been quite ineffective and they've gone forward and not very efficient on the ball as Dortmund just going forward now, caught out by Hakimi. I'll get you those substitutes now. Kolo Muani have been leading the line for PSG, obviously, been fluid so far. Coming off for Gonçalo Ramos, who's come on, the man bought from Benfica, PSG, 2 9 who like to be starting for the team in every single game, but give them a bit of competition up front. Get the goals in now. They've lost Neymar and Messi. Maybe Gonzalo Ramos come on, get a few goals tonight, get some confidence. Brewster should be in the starting 11 as Dortmund look to whip the ball in. It's a good ball into the box, but it's cleared away by Marquinhos. It's Dortmund now throwing a few more men forward, looking to get that goal. As you said, Rob, if they get the third goal, that could be a big difference. If they can grab that, not the equalising goal, but if they can grab one to then get one within the equalising goal, that'll throw more men forward and maybe get the ball from the game.
Yeah, I mean, but this that's last attack there, man. That's something where Fulkrug might actually be an asset, and a cross, a decent cross, gives him something to attack. It was well defended by Marquinhos. It's come from a corner. Balls to feet, balls in behind aren't his strong point.
Yeah, the cross comes in now from the corner by Yemi, who makes his way all the way to Fulkrug, who is complaining and arms in the air to the referee, asking for a handball. Just replay now, it comes off his head and it takes a touch off Marquinhos' hand, but was going up for the ball, going up for the header. We've had a few now, VAR looks, we've had a few handballs here or there. When you jump in for the ball and the ball is right next to you, you're going to use your arms, and it kind of bobs off his bicep, tricep is more than his actual hand. I'd say that's more ball to hand, and we've had no VAR check, but Dortmund now looking to get on the counter attack, looking to get forward, get men forward, but no handball there, no penalty there. I assume the same for you.
Nah, it's a tough one. He's probably
getting
in the way, but I don't think it's deliberate. He's trying to ease the striker away from goal as opposed to block the header. I think he's hit him on the shoulder as much as anything, high up the arm. We just saw Hummels there try his luck from about 25 yards. I mean, they are committed. They are more aggressive. I still don't think they look likely.
Yeah, no, it's been come forward now. Mbappe's passing into Dembele, looking to play Ramos through. His pass was just cut out by Hummels in the defensive area, but Dortmund back now. Royce is all making his way to his own goal, and that looks like a pass back possibly there. But both players saying it's not, but as we're just watching the replay, I would have said maybe that was.
Away.
But we're just watching the replay. Lovely ball from Kylian Mbappe. First time from Dembele into Ramos, a hard pass to make, but lovely clearance from Hummels. Far enough, and PSG win the ball back. Dortmund cleared it high and wide, goes forward, but it's now Dortmund have won it back for a
เอาไปแล้วสวนดิส่งดิโอ้โหเอ็มบัปเป้ไปออกไปทางขวาเดมเบเล่โอ้โหนิดเดียว
That cross that was put in for him was a lovely delivery. If they get more like that, that's where Dortmund take advantage. Dortmund can really
เฮ้ยคือหลังได้ไงอ่ะ
Maybe put the PSG defenders under pressure, get a good ball into the box.
นี่ครับการเซโลลามอสนะครับเพื่อนๆทีเด็ดเลยตัวเนี้ยที่ยิงแฮตทริกในบอลโลก
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you give him a chance, aerial set piece. I mean, he did well for Werder Bremen, didn't he? As Ramos tries to go through the middle there, he's just held up well enough, long enough by Dortmund for the cover to come. But was it 45 in 90, something like that at Werder Bremen? Obviously, Borussia Dortmund have invested. The threat is there, but obviously there's a threat going the other way. Here's
7 นาทีนะครับเพื่อนๆนี่ก็เข้ามาแล้วนะฝากกดไลค์กดแชร์กดติดตามให้หน่อยนะครับ
Falls for the substitution, and he just puts it high and wide. It fell for him. It was a lovely pass back in from Dembele, but it was just bobbling around. He tries to hit it right-footed, side-footed, right-footed effort, and it just bounces over the bar. Not the best connection from the Portuguese, but again, PSG, whenever they get on the counter-attack, whenever you see Mbappe on the left-hand side, he's looking all the time on the right-hand side for Dembele to play him behind with the pace. At the 84th minute, and they're still full of life for the two French wingers going forward, and another chance. That's his first real chance in the game. He's only just come on. If that falls for him again in a few minutes, he could have put it in the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's late in the game, but Mbappe doesn't cross the halfway line defensively, does he?
โอ้โหการเซโล
Ramos has only just come on. Dembele's probably ran the most out of those three. So the threat is there, and I think they'll be fresh enough. To be fair, I think Dortmund had done a decent job. If they'd have been this aggressive in a sense in the first half, who knows? Because obviously they'd have been fresher. They might have threatened more, but because they sat back, they allowed PSG to dictate. Nothing changed in the second half until it was 2-0. I mean, even the first goal, not long after the restart, didn't engender a change in tack. But 2-0 down, Dortmund have been a little bit more proactive. and it could have been a different game. How many times do we say that? If only you'd done this from the off, the result could have been different. And they might have got pounded 6-0 though, so you never know. But they are losing this game, and I don't think they're going to score. Donnarumma has had nothing to do for practically the entire game. What I've seen from the subs, I'm not expecting that to change.
Yeah, not likely so far. As on the sidelines as Dortmund do have the ball. Forward, Karim Adeyemi looks to switch out wide. A cross coming into the area, but Hakimi just gets a nick on it and it goes wide out for a Dortmund corner, as possibly a PSG going to make the change now. Not many times set pieces occurring. Do you get a substitute? But they might at this point. But Dortmund, it's taken them to go 2 goals down to change the tactic. But with the first half, she did look a little suspect whenever Dortmund did go forward. So possibly if they'd been this positive, this attacking, this much on the front foot in the first half, it could have created more chances and put PSG under pressure as Karim stands over the corner, looks to whip across into the area. All the Dortmund players go up and it's a headed wide. Again, he's had another opportunity. He's been put in a decent area for him. A couple of corners now, but just wide. And again, Donnarumma, it's a good opportunity, but again, not testing the goalkeeper. Dortmund there from the substitute.
No, exactly. I mean, if they'd done, I mean, it's weird if they'd started with Fulcrum getting crosses in, because they did put a few crosses in the first half. Danilo's coming on for Lucas Hernandez, so another change for PSG. If they'd have done it the other way, because they had 4 or 5 corners in that first half as well, if they had that threat aerially, it might have been a different story. At the start of this half, there was a little bit of space in behind that maybe Marlon could have exploited. Just not how the game's panned out. They went the other way. I'm not saying they paid the penalty. It's not easy to keep PSG quiet. Kylian Mbappe is obviously one of the best players in the world, if not the best player. He's got such frightening pace. I think he's actually had a quiet game, if I'm being honest, but he doesn't like to play within himself. If he meant business, it might have been more dangerous for Dortmund, but because they've dominated possession, they haven't quite gone after Dortmund, and they're still in it. Got left 2 minutes left plus stoppage time. The game is done for me. PSG are obviously cementing their place as favourites for the group. Newcastle up next.
Yeah, it'll be a tough game away. Newcastle obviously drawing away to Milan for our kick-off, the early kick-off of Group F. It's an important game, and it's an important 3 points for PSG now to go into the rest of the group. They've got 5 games left now, or you always want to start off well with a win. Obviously, again, they're trying to play out from the back. He passes it out wide to the right-hand side for Ryson, who's looking to get forward. Still, he's been up and down that right side, left-hand side. Planting him so far, and Dortmund looking to still push bodies forward as 18.5 minutes in, it falls to Karim Adeyemi, who looks to have a shot, but his shot is high and wide. And again, if you're the Dortmund players, it happened earlier in the second half from Daniel Malin. He took a touch and it came out of his feet. Again, same for Adeyemi. They didn't really fall for him. You won't be saying have a shot there. And Dortmund have worked so hard in the game. They are 2-0 down, but if you've worked so hard in the game that you push forward and your teammates having a shot when you'd like to maybe be played in, that's a bit disappointing from a teammate if you're Adeyemi.
I would say, in general, I don't think the shooting from distance has been overly inspiring. I know the woodwork's been struck a couple of times, but they were both right on the edge of the box. We've seen a number of shots from 20, 25 yards out, and the keeper's not been worried at all. You'd expect a little bit more, certainly from a PSG viewpoint. Free kick given against substitute Bern getting to, of course, has hit the woodwork, but that, as I say, that was right on the edge of the 18-yard box. I mean, some of the games it's been quite ordinary, I think, given what talent is on the show. But you know, I suppose Paris Saint-Germain will just be happy to get the 3 points. They're of course beaten at home in the league on Saturday. I think they've controlled this game. I think they've deserved it. They perhaps haven't overrun Dortmund, but Dortmund have grown into the contest more when it became 2-0. Nobody's going to suggest it was an even battle until PSG scored, are they? I mean, PSG were dominating, went 2-0 up. Dortmund are responding, but it's too little too late.
Yeah, looking like job possibly done for PSG, but as we've just hit the 90th minute, 6-minute added time, so maybe a bit of confidence lifted for Dortmund if they have a goal in the next minute or so. They've got then a few more minutes left. There's a lovely interplay between Moyes and Fulcrook. He looks to take a shot and take a touch into the area, but it's blocked by Danilo Pereira. And as soon as he took a touch into the area, he had about 3 or 4 PSG players around him. Now just have the ball, looking to slow the pace down now. Vitinha. Sorry, so substitute coming on. Marquinhos playing more as a left back now on the left hand side, looking to slow the player down and maybe take the sting out of any Dortmund attack that will come their way. As you say, looking like game over now. Job done possibly for PSG. First game, 3 points. It can maybe give confidence going into the league game of the weekend as Danilo Pereira plays a long ball forward for Kylian Mbappe. He looks to chip Corbell, but he's just gone wide. Lovely. Fell to him. It was a lovely pass from Danilo Pereira. He picked out Mbappe so well, and his pace to get in behind Hummels. He had no chance. Corbell tried to come to get the ball, but he was never getting there before Mbappe, and he just looked to chip him, and his touch, just a delicate touch. Corbell probably wouldn't have got back in the net if it was on target. Just wide of the post. Corbell's blushes were spared as it came out. Could have been chipped over by the goalkeeper, but again, that's just showing Dortmund coming forward again, and PSG just have the pace in behind to threat anyone who plays forward against them.
Yeah, I mean, Mbappe's faster than anything in the world, isn't he? Let's be honest. I was expecting a little bit more from the finish. I'm not going to lie. He at least hit the target. I know he's gone for the chip. But he never quite looked in control of that chip for me. But that's the danger, of course, Dortmund pushing out. The pace is just ridiculous. Hummels is never going to live up to it. And of course, the keeper came, but then realised he wasn't going to get there either, and that gave the chip opportunity. Missed the target, but job done. The game is over, isn't it? That's obviously something that other teams would have to watch out for. But he's going to get all the focus in Mbappe. There's no Neymar, there's no Messi. I'm not sure the others have quite lived up to perhaps their PSG billing. Mbappe remains very much the star man, but he's obviously still good enough to find those gaps. Not been his night tonight necessarily over the course of 92 minutes, but the danger is always there.
Yeah, seemingly they've gone from a cast of all-stars of PSG to you've got the all-star in Kylian Mbappe, and you've just got players around him that can really cause problems in Dembele, Ramos, Juan, Vitinha, who've been fantastic tonight. Instead of having a group of 3, I mean, like you say, Mbappe, he doesn't really, the only time he comes back into his own half is when the other team has possession. He's walking around most of the time. He saves his energy, but when he needs to pounce forward with the pace he's got, PSG now again just killing and taking the sting out of any Dortmund attackers, passing around the back. Dortmund trying to press high.
เอาครับเพื่อนๆโทษนะใกล้จะหมดแล้วนะ
Hit long to Gonzalo Ramos. Back to the Dortmund defence. PSG win it back though. Gonzalo Ramos just playing Mbappe in. He's one-on-one with his defender. Looks to beat his man. Get a shot on target. It's off target. Not chancing any against Corbell. Not, like you say, it's not really been his night, but as we're just a few minutes away from the full-time whistle being blown there, he's already on score sheet from the penalty, but I think he'll be pretty disappointed with himself that he hasn't added to his tally with that chance there.
He's got it at the target. I mean, you don't want to... I mean, obviously the threat's there and he's creating his chances with his pace, but I mean, he's done nothing to beat Soule and then dragged wide 12 yards out. He's not tested the keeper. It's a poor finish, like the chip. You might argue that's harder because it's a bouncing ball and he's trying to control it, but he's controlling that ball and then he's missing his shot. I'm not having to go at Mbappe. He's obviously the star man on this field, but you know, you'd expect more.
I'll
work the keeper. Clever, but he isn't. He's got it onto his right. Close to the post. So disappointing finish, but PSG still comfortably clear.
Just got to the 4th minute of added time. Just 2 minutes less. Well, less than 2 minutes left now. PSG on the ball in their own half again. Marquinhos to bring it forward into Mbappe. Plays it to Dembele and Marquinhos, one of the furthest players forward, the centre back, the PSG captain. Play wide to Dembele, who may be looking to get a goal here, maybe to get on the score sheet. Mbappe, ball from Emery's through to Mbappe. Well, calls for offside. Looks to take the shot. It's wide. Hits a post. It's looking like possibly the flag has been raised. So we're just going to see if it was offside. Look, watching our replays from our television, it was offside. So even if it would have gone, it would have been given. But again, playing in, it's just such a danger inside. An opportunity for offside, as we say. I mean, he could have taken advantage of that. And I mean, at this rate, even in the last few minutes, he's had a hat-trick of chances.
Yeah, I mean, Ryerson, I don't know whether he's had a go at the linesman for not raising the flag early. He's picked up a yellow card somehow, silly in the 6-minute stoppage time of 6. The team trailing 2-0. I can't tell you, Lazio got a last gasp equaliser. That finished Lazio 1. Let's go Madrid 1. Barcelona 5-0 is a full time. Man City beat Vs 3-1. That's also full time. And Porto 3-1.
โอ้โหเหี้ยไม่ได้อีก
Still playing
อะไรวะ
this
เป้
game, still playing final at Celtic. Both home sides are 2-0 up. Here go PSG again.
Gonzalo Ramos is in. Sorry to cut you off there, Rob, but a goal on his Champions League debut for PSG. But the flag is up again after it was for Kylian Mbappe, and
ใครโดนเหลือง
goal ruled out for Gonzalo Ramos to get his first goal in PSG colours on the bright lights Tuesday of the Champions League. Watching the replay, I don't know what you think about. He's watching it now. Close, but do you think it's offside?
Yeah, he's probably leaning. He's probably leaning offside. I'm not entirely convinced how the Champions League do it. I mean, that's a little bit slack from Schlotterbeck because I think he's looking the wrong way. Love the way managers know when somebody's on or offside, as if VAR can't rule it out. I mean, VAR will check this, and it's ruled it out. But Luis Enrique knows that that was a goal. There is the full-time whistle, though. PSG ultimately too good for Borussia Dortmund.
เรียบร้อย
Mbappe and Hakimi with the goals. Full-time.
โอ้ล้ำหน้า
France, PSG 2,
โอ้โห
BBB 0.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting markets, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck.
จบเกมแล้วนะครับเพื่อนๆ
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting markets, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting
ตอน 5 ทุ่ม
opportunities.
นะครับเอซิมิลานนะครับเสมอกับนิวคาสเซิล 0-0 แล้วก็ยังบอยนะครับแพ้ไลป์ซิก 3-1 แล้วก็ปารีสนะครับชนะดอร์ทมุนด์ 2-0
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting markets, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck.
คือวันนี้นะพรุ่งนี้นะครับมีช่วง 5 ทุ่มนะครับก็เป็นเรอัลมาดริดกับยูเนียนเบอร์ลินก็เดี๋ยวเจอกันเหมือนเดิมนะครับเพื่อนๆแล้วก็ตอนช่วงที่ 2นะเดี๋ยวเราจะโฟกัสกันที่คู่ไบเยิร์นกับแมนยูแล้วก็อาร์เซนอลกับ PSV นะครับเพื่อนๆเราจะโฟกัสกัน2 คู่นี้นะก็ฝากเพื่อนด้วยนะครับเข้ามาดูเข้ามารับชมกันด้วย
total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting markets, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck.
แล้วก็คือวันพฤหัสนี้ก็มีลิเวอร์พูลนะครับ5 ทุ่ม 4-5
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting,